everybody. And now let's talk automation.
Hello, everybody. Happy Third Thursday on our very special birthday holiday extravaganza. I'm so excited that everybody's here, and I can see that comments are already starting to roll in before we even started. So, Kieran, happy birthday.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Our one sad thing, though, Emma, is we had a Secret Santa. I use the word had, but we don't, because Santa's got ill, and we wish him all the best because he's an absolute star. And it is a he, and that's a hint. So what we're going to do is some of our other speakers who are on the call today, in honor of who Santa might have been, are going to drop hints as to who he was. And then right at the end, we'll reveal it and wish him all the best. But great to be here, Emma. And happy holidays to you too. And I love our rickety wheel.
Our wheel. We're going to get good use out of it today while we're asking everybody their questions. And as we're going, so we did not have Santa join us, but I think we are pulling through one other special additional guest to make up for it. So we're working feverishly in the background, if you see me typing, to get them in, because Tom, who will be joining us in a little bit, is a superstar who joined us last minute to make sure that we were getting all of our questions in, even if Santa couldn't join us live today. So to get us started, one of the other things that we've got is a little bit of a video to get us started as opposed to a live conversation, because Pascal, who was hoping to be able to join us live, is on an airplane on his way to France right now. So he unfortunately wasn't able to join us live from the air over the top of the ocean on his way. So what we did is we gave him his question ahead of time. And I did my wheel spin, and we are going to then show you his response to the question. And Pascal's question that I gave him after we did the spin was, how would Santa be able to improve his efficiency if he used intelligent automation? So we're going to get started with that. We'll hear from Pascal, and then we'll come back, and I see our superstar Tom is ready to go when we're back for our next question.
Hello, guys. Hello, Emma. Hello, Kieran. Hello, the Third Thursday team. So I'm flying today, so I can't be live with you. Emma launched the wheel, and she told me that my question is, how could Santa use intelligent automation to be more efficient? Well, first, I'm very unlucky. That's a very tough question. Okay, let me put myself in the shoes of a consultant in intelligent automation who would meet Santa to help him improve his operations. So, hello, Santa. I heard you're looking for starting your intelligent automation transformation. I understand that your vision is to have one robot for each of your elf and reindeers. So, indeed, today your elves are very stressed. Processes are very manual, from updating manually the database of nearly 2 billion kids in the world, entering wishes manually from letters received from the kids into your ERP, and then matching the right letter with the right toy manually on your Excel, assessing and predicting the availability of the toys that you have in your inventory. And so all this is manual. The other issue is reindeers are exhausted. They only fly once a year, and they face mental health issues because of this. While you've always been in the cloud for a while, so while you've always been in the cloud for a while, you are still not much automated. So let me give you a few options to help support your automation journey. For managing the letters received from the kids, you could use intelligent document recognition. So the scanned letter will be digitalized, the kids' information matched with the current list of kids in your ERP system, updating this information from last year if required, or create new entries for new babies that were born during the year, first Christmas for them. It will also be about directly entering the list of requested toys into your order catalog that will trigger the orders to suppliers and to the production plants, for example. So of course, in the long term, you have better ask the kids to log on your web platform and directly shop their toys and update their information in the system so that you can go with a more sustainable paperless process. You could also consider an API with Amazon for those toys that are more complex and to procure and more complex to find. So regarding kids' behavior scoring, you could implement a machine learning algorithm to score on the fly the letters from the good and the bad kids based on different attributes like grades at school, help at home, cleanliness of the kids' rooms. And finally, leverage the reindeers to make kids happy. Send them to malls or to playgrounds to play with the kids, not to carry toys. Leverage drones to fly and deliver toys to the kids. It will be painless. Optimize the delivery thanks to an automated mapping system, which is cross-reference between your CRM and your Google Map. And this would mean shorter and faster routes. It also means that everyone in the North Pole will have plenty of time without the usual rush and stress, and will be able to go to bed better so that and earlier so that they can enjoy Christmas Day better. So Santa, I wish you all the best with your journey into intelligent automation. I'm very happy to help you further. Guys, Emma, Kieran, thanks again for the invitation to this great event. Happy holidays to all of you. See you next year.
So, Kieran, did you know that Santa had that much opportunity?
Always. And even the naughty kids are getting presents as well. I did see a lot of product placement in there as well. May mention that later on. I think we come up with a fine for Mr. Hobday if he does use product placement there for.
You know what? He brought the Santa hat, so I'm not angry today. Well, I see more and more comments coming in, but we've got a very critical question that before we bring Tom on, we need to address. Where is the holiday spirit, Kieran? Look I even have fancy earrings and a bow. Which way do I need to go? And a bow. I guess I'm the one that brings the festive.
Well, there you go. You were the one that brought the festive. I don't think earrings would suit me. And rumor has it that you're wearing a wig soon, and that probably wouldn't suit me either, to be absolutely.
No.
Do you want to discuss that at all? No?
Yeah, that there might be some truth to those rumors if Ed Halsey has anything to do with it, but that's a story for another time. So we're going to bring Tom on with us today so that we don't completely lose track of our hour. Tom came ready to deliver. He not only jumped in to be our special guest to help us make room for Santa being sick and make sure that we got everybody a nice surprise, but he's also come with the holiday spirit. So thank you for joining us, Tom. Today we're going to get started with a wheel spin.
No expense spared. No expense spared, Emma. I hope everybody realizes.
I've been prepared, yes. So we're going to spin the wheel, and then we'll give you your question, and then we're going to start bringing in some of our other expert guests onto the stream after you get your time on the stage. So taking a spin. Oh, I didn't spin that hard enough. You got an easy one here. Number 7 is where we're going, Kieran. So let me take a look at our questions quick. And next time I'm going to have to use a little bit. That was just my warm-up spin, everybody.
That's it.
So, Tom, I want you to do a quick introduction before you get going into the question. And then what I'd like you to talk about is maybe some of the industry trends that you've seen in your work between those folks that are leading intelligent automation within an organization and maybe some of those stragglers and maybe kind of key differences between those groups. So I'm going to bring you onto the stream. You can start with that introduction and then share your thoughts on that question.
Great. Thanks for the kind words, Emma. I'm delighted to be here. At least I found my Christmas jumper despite the haste. I'm an industry analyst, so unlike Pascal and you guys, I'm not a practitioner. So some people say I don't know S. There might be truth in that. But at least I try to play back a couple of insights and looking after space for the last 10 years. So I'm running on one hand the IT service coverage at HFS Research, but also a driver of thought leadership on the broad gamut of automation, not just RPA, not just intelligent automation, literally the whole space. And I think there's a common theme across all of that. We have to be very clear about the context, what we're really talking about. So again, we shouldn't just myopically look at specific tool sets like RPA. But another common theme And been on the soapbox for many years, but it still holds true. I think we have to bring the discussion back to outcomes. Just listening to Pascal, then our brilliant insights, but almost flip it on his head. Again, we have to be clear, what are the outcomes for all of that? We shouldn't get lost in any technology details, but we shouldn't get lost in the lot of marketing we're hearing from the supply side, refining automation just to task automation, to productivity. If you learned anything through the pandemic, is clients looking at how can they deliver goods, delivery, and services end to end, not a little bit. Again, certain things, task automation, productivity don't help you in that. With that, we get a fundamental change in the market. And almost, if I condense it and oversimplify, how we literally integrate all those operational and automation approaches into cloud native, but then link it back to legacy. But that's the hard work. Emma?
Kieran's going to get so much pleasure out of the fact that I was still muted just there. Thank you so much for your thoughts, Tom. And again, thank you for joining us so last minute. One of the other things that I neglected to tell everybody to do, like I normally do, one, we had so many comments flooding in. Everyone was ready and eager to be here. But I didn't tell everybody to make sure that they're joining in the comments, telling us where you're joining from. And then also, I don't know where else you're going to get this like group of automation experts all together in one place again. So use the comments to your advantage. We've got questions, we've got a wheel, but you also have the opportunity to ask other questions and interact with everybody in the chat. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to bring on Francis and Shail now and give them their spin at the wheel, but please feel free to continue to join us in the comments. All right, so we've got our next two automation experts on with us today. Ooh.
Hey, where is Francis? Have you seen him today?
No, we got 007. I think it's a version of Sean Connery.
Can you just talk more quietly? Because I just got back from a cocktail party.
Are you shaken or stirred, Francis?
Both.
All right, so Francis, we're gonna come to you first and we're gonna give you the spin of the wheel. And I was a little too soft-handed the first time, so I'm gonna go a little bit harder with my wheel spin this time. We just know you can't get number 7. All right, number 12. So Francis, we're coming to you for your question. Same thing. You can do a quick introduction as we get going. And then I'd like you to share your answer on who would get on your intelligent automation naughty list in 2021. And now, to be fair to people, don't name anybody specifically by name or call out any vendors, but maybe industry designations or a pet peeve that you have in the space.
So many rules, Emma. It's rules. This is Christmas. So hi, everybody. I'm Francis Carden, and I was the founder of one of the RPA companies that was acquired by Pega. And I get to enjoy really being, well, I try to offer a very balanced opinion because I've been doing automation for decades, and RPA became a thing, and then intelligent automation became a thing, and then it's all exciting. And if you're following all the terms, it's hyper automation, intelligent automation, digital process automation, one office, et cetera, et cetera. And I just love all this stuff. I eat it for breakfast, and I'm just going to have breakfast soon anyway. So that's all good. So, all right. So back to my question. What was the question again? So I think that the real issue is that the naughty list has to be just how RPA is trying to purport to be intelligent automation. I think RPA is a very important part of intelligent automation, but it isn't the part. And you see a lot of vendors, and they should be on the naughty list for this, jumping in and hijacking terminology that almost stands alone as a technology, but they keep adding it as if it's, and everybody, and some of the analysts also should be on the naughty list also for buying into this Kool-Aid or drinking, margaritas or whatever it is. But I think that if we try to really understand what intelligent automation is, which it's a basic understanding that we need to transform our businesses from the technologies of the past that dragged us back, legacy systems, legacy hardware. You know, we had very limited compute power, very limited disk, capabilities and storage capabilities. And now we live in this dream, this nirvana, where we can do, none of those limitations really apply anymore. So if you think about intelligent automation as a broad set of technologies, but underpinning is digital transformation, RPA must be on the naughty list because it's not transformational. It keeps encouraging you to automate as-is processes. And when I say RPA, I mean UI automation, the UI automation element. Everything else is intelligent automation. UI automation is a part of that. So everybody's on the naughty list. If they keep saying RPA is intelligent automation, it simply is dumb automation required to help accelerate the intelligent automation until you do things properly.
Ooh, you're throwing everybody onto the naughty list this year.
I didn't name anybody, though. I didn't name anybody, did I? Didn't name anybody.
You did.
Oh,
You followed all of my rules, and I felt very teachery getting to put those rules out also, because these are from back when I was in the 6th grade classroom. This ensemble, this is what I live for. So I also got to enforce some rules, which felt nice to me today.
But there was one company mention, so that's definitely a donation to
No.
charity.
Well, I'll just put $2 on the off shelf. There you go.
There we go. All right, Shail, we're going to come to you. Same process. I'm going to spin the wheel. Kieran is going to give you your question this time. He's got to double check our list, and then we will allow you to do your introduction and share your thoughts on the question. So here we go.
We didn't hear a ho, 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 Francis, either.
Ooh, number 8. Guys, I'm getting better at the wheel spin.
Oh,
all right, Kieran, take it away.
Here as well. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Actually, I kind of like this one. Shail, do you believe companies should implement solution suites with a wide range of capabilities, or bring in specific tools and integrate them with their enterprise applications?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question. First of all, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary. It's phenomenal what you guys are doing, and thank you for having me here with so many interesting luminaries. You know, following Reiner, Pascal, and the combination of Godfather and 007 in one is quite a challenge. My name is Shail. I've been in the automation space helping shape this market, like many other people that you'll hear about here in this session today. I have been with 3 leading automation players as a CMO and Chief Customer Officer at Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and UiPath. I'm now an investor and a advisor to multiple different automation companies, and run one of the only customer-only, no vendor, no analyst group called Vocal, which stands for Voice of Customer in the automation landscape, and it includes about 58 key decision makers in automation from around the globe. To your question, Kieran, about solution versus using point solutions versus bringing them together, integrated into an organization. I feel that when I talk to customers, many of them are struggling today to try to make automation technologies talk to each other. The very promise that automation started with, which was to integrate systems that don't talk to each other and collect the data that comes out of these systems that many customers may not have had access to, is not the way automation has grown up. It has grown up as many different Lego blocks that the customer now has to put together inside of an organization. It's a broad set of technologies. And in that context, I would say that it depends on the problem that you're trying to solve in your organization. RPA alone cannot solve your entire automation challenge within your organization. There are multiple sets of tools. We're starting to see the emergence of various different solutions out there. We're starting to see service providers getting into the RPA space, into the automation space. We're starting to see, iPaaS players getting into automation and providing automation solutions. On the other hand, we're starting to see RPA providers, core RPA providers, go forward with a TAM expansion and go into IDP, AI, machine learning, cognitive, the soup of acronyms that we have out there. So for organizations that are trying to build their automation portfolio, I would say that it's best to start off with a collection of technologies that you can bring in. that help you solve the broadest possible use cases inside your organization, and then see how you can take those and graduate to perhaps a platform that provides these technologies. There are emerging companies that are emerging as platforms, not fully there yet in terms of integrating all these things together. So probably having best of breed technologies early on and then moving to a platform. Back to you, Khiyara.
Very good. And even better still, Emma's still on mute, which has made my day brighter. I'm getting early Christmas presents here.
So Shail and Francis, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to bring on our next round of experts. Have a wonderful day, guys, and we'll see you guys in the comments some more. I'm jealous of that drink, but it's 9 o'clock here, so I don't think that's happening. Have a good day, guys. And let's see, we've got Wayne the Elf. And Suspenders is back in town.
That is a Christmas jumper. That truly is.
Hey, Wayne.
You made up for all of Kieran's lack of spirit.
I know.
Alone. All right.
I'll just put on 2 like this, right? Can I do this? Is this?
That you can do that. It's still hello Texas, Wayne. Hello, it obviously you've gone big. That's it. It's the movement.
And do you know what? This jumper, this woolly jumper, is made for the UK. So imagine wearing it in like 70 degrees or whatever it is right now. I'm hot.
All right, Wayne.
Oh, we knew that already. Yeah, we knew that.
I'm going to do a spin for you because we got to stay on schedule. This is my job. I am the rule enforcer. So here we go.
You realize that, Emma?
Number 13, Wayne. Your question. All right, this is a good one. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to ask you your question, give you the floor. You can do a real quick introduction and then dive into your response. So, what merits or cautions do you feel like come along with the idea of citizen development? And do you think that it is truly an effective path to scale automation across the enterprise?
Ooh. Okay, so intro first. So clearly I'm not an elf most of the time. So I'm Wayne Butterfield. I am a director over at ISG Automation. I spent the last decade in the intelligent automation space, initially as a practitioner, really early adopter, back in 2010, so 12 years ago now. First deployed RPA when I was at Telefonica and did some good work at BT, and then I joined ISG about 5 years ago, helping everybody else on their journey. Obviously, great to be here. Know Kieran and Emma really well, and congratulations on the 1-year anniversary also. Question-wise, this is a good one. So I was actually in New Orleans last week. Was it last week or maybe the week before? And I hosted a workshop specifically on citizen developers. So thankfully, I feel like I have done some prep on this, even though it wasn't specifically for this question. And for anybody who was in that workshop, I talked very positively about citizen developer. The reality is, for me, and this could well have been on Francis's naughty list if you think about AA, is citizen developer really the crux? Is it really going to help an organization transform? It's debatable, okay? If I'm really honest, if I look at the stats that I've seen, probably only 1 or 2 in 5 programs are successful. Why? Okay. I don't think it's necessarily the technology. We can kind of come on to that. I think it's the people, okay? And I'm going to use a term that I hear a lot from Kieran, actually, digital dexterity. Some people have it, some people don't, okay? As much as we can talk about low code is still something that you need to have a mindset around. You need to have a way that your mind works in order to create and craft an automation in the no code world as well as anything else, right? You have to be able to link and think in a certain way. And that is not for everybody. Different people's minds work in different ways. Therefore, citizen developer is not going to be for everyone, right? So the key thing to do, like, think about, there's a couple of key things, right? First one is your people, right? You have to ensure that you are getting the right people involved in your citizen developer program. A citizen developer program is not everybody, okay? It is not everybody. Okay, so it has to be certain people. You have to figure out who those people are. They have to have some form of digital skills and a mindset that is going to enable them to be successful. And when I talk about that, as my glasses fall off, as I talk about that, I'll give you some great examples. Mention no names. I know organizations who have trained up 50, 80, 100 people. Out of all of those people, imagine only 10% of them who have been trained have actually delivered an automation. That is not uncommon. Okay, so imagine the amount of effort that you're putting in order to not get those returns. So you have to choose your right people. Can they be successful? I think it probably can. I've seen great examples. I did a webinar the other day. It was never mentioned or called Citizen Developer, but Lloyds Banking Group in the UK has got 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 developers across all of their business doing amazing things, deliver 2.5 million hours back to the business. So it can be done. It has to be done right, and it has to be, it has to be a strategy. It cannot just be dumped on people. I think I could talk about this for an hour and a half. I know, because I did do the other day. But hopefully, if we just leave it there for now, and obviously happy to continue talking about this in the questions in the audience. I think it's debatable whether this is going to be transformational. I think the future, it has to be. I think right now we're just not in a place where enough people are digitally dexterous in order to make the most of this capability that the technology is and can enable.
Man, you're after Kieran's heart using his terms and giving us an award-winning response. Thank you so much, Wayne, the elf. Now, suspenders. I can't even use your name on this live cast because they are so infamous from episode 2, I think. So Kieran is going to ask your question again, but I continue to control the wheel. So here we go.
Control the wheel. Wayne, a Christmas present, sir. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
All right.
For development.
Kieran,
tools.
question number 14.
14 on the list. Okay, let's see. This has to be a hard one because it's you. What emerging technologies should leaders be keeping a pulse on in 2022 and why? And I'm expecting a big answer here, Lasse.
This was actually the question I really didn't want, because this is, what are we going to look at? What's important, right? And do we even know what's coming out there that we haven't seen yet? But I actually thought a lot about it, and I think what we should be looking at is actually 5 years ago I heard a lot of people talking all about IoT all the time. It was all IoT being smart, but I think actually now it is going to be, the technology is going to be pushed a lot on, because we will see a lot of first of all 5G rollouts everywhere across the whole world, and then also these open architectures of cloud applications that will enable us to sort of connect all this data into flows with our businesses. I think that we have not seen the extent to which IoT can actually change the world, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that in 2022 and 2023 and so on. Obviously in prop tech, but also in vehicles and everything we do in industry that's not based behind a computer. Intelligent automation and RPA and everything has been very focused on your financial departments and your computer processing, but I think actually the ability to connect the whole world into it is something that's going to change the gear, up the gear a level, so we get to a completely different place with it. I think that was actually the thing I thought most about, because obviously I think that we have so many of these other suites already enabled starting. You see, of course, they will be consolidating even more, or things we already know how to do. I'm having trouble to see what will actually change the world. People always say AI. I have a tendency to say that AI is not necessarily going to get simpler or easier, because you still need tons of historical data, and data scientists, data engineers are trim on the ground. But I really think the technology is involved in sort of connecting the whole world into what you can actually automate is going to change a lot on it, and know about things. But that was just, it's the top of my mind, predicting the future. I've said before, I'm an educated historian, so I'm more on predicting trends from what I can see has already happened. It's really difficult to to see what technology will change the world. I think that's my 2 pence.
I like it. I'm banking on Web 3.0. That's my 2022. Let's see.
And here I am. I want another Spender Snap before we take.
Oh yeah. But then you need to get me on a rant, hating something. I'll say something about the citizen developer thing, right? And say, you don't get citizen brain surgeons, right? I wish I got that question, Wayne, because then I could go all like, no way, Jose. But I won't comment on. I have tons of comments on that citizen developer thing, but I'll try to not to behave. But hey, citizen evangelists, citizen designers, I'm all for that. Developers, I don't think so. Solutions will only get
in
more
the comments,
tricky.
Lasse.
I was
Get them in
going
the
to say,
comments.
Okay.
Put the cap lock on.
But,
Join us
okay, I'll
in the
do it again.
comments.
One more. There we go.
There we go.
And
All
Wayne,
right.
there's an
Thank you
ask to
both for
share
joining
your
us.
talk the other day as well, if you can, in the comments as well. Priya has asked that.
I did. I saw that. I'm just starting to respond to all of the comments there because there's quite a few which are great. It was a live workshop, so it wasn't recorded, but I can share some of my content, although it was pointers, not necessarily the full spiel. So I'll sort that out.
Pointed across. I know
Thank you,
Priya's in your
gentlemen. We've got some other folks that need to join us now, so we'll see you in the comments.
I love the way you're organizing us, Emma. I love that.
That's my job. Right now, I'm waiting for Paula to come join and get all of you boys under control. But right now,
it's like 3 Christmas jumpers versus none here. This is.
I know, Kieran, you're the
I need a
Grinch.
rescue mission.
Maybe we should get like a green filter for you and have you sing a sad Grinch song.
It's embarrassing.
All right, Mike and Ian, thank you for joining us, guys. And we've seen you popping into the comments already. So now you're ready for your wheel spin. Ian, coming to you. All right, ready? I'm going to do a very aggressive one. Oh, we already did 8.
I'll take it.
All right, number 6. So we have got, if you could ask Santa for one intelligent automation tool for Christmas this year, what would it be and why, Ian? So we're going to come to you, intro, and then what is on your Santa list this year?
Okay, super. I was dreading this one. I've dressed up as the mentally disturbed reindeer that Pascal mentioned earlier. I probably will take these off because they're squeezing my brain. My name's Ian Barkin. I was one of the co-founders of an RPA consultancy called Symphony Ventures that had quite an adventure for several years, and got to see just the trends, the evolution of the industry, the passion that drove so very many people, and got to interact with so many of the folks on this call. I will echo Shail and say, Emma and Kieran, you guys have done an extraordinary job. Congratulations on a year of this show. You really are the voices of this industry and have done a tremendous amount to educate folks. Also, I live in Florida, so my jumper is not just a, by the way, jumper, that's anglicized. It's a sweater. But my jumper is Florida Christmas. That is a manatee, for anyone wondering. Okay, so what tool? And I thought about this. This is so cheesy. I'm going to product plug and then apologize, but it's a bigger context. One particular tool might be this book, Intelligent Automation, that I co-authored with Pascal Bornet and Johan Wirtz. And the point is, because it's not about a particular tool. It's not about process discovery and task mining and process mining. It's not about RPA. It's not about any of the other things that fall under intelligent automation. Frankly, all of those things have been with us for a while. They've evolved. They've gotten more capable, certainly. But the thing that still causes most of the transformation we're so excited to talk about from actually happening, thing that constrains it most is an awareness, an aligned education, awareness, and appreciation for what we're talking about. So what the key tools are, what the puzzle pieces we have available to us to lay out on a table, what the actual overall mission is. It's not to tinker. It's not to plug a robot in a hole. It's not to digitize your current mess for less. It's not to just find some way to make your job suck a little less by doing something that's a little bit more interesting. It is, in fact, to both visualize, enable, and then actually create true change in your environment. And in fact, it's to unleash even more art of the possible so that just a more efficient onboarding of an employee or processing of an invoice or shipping of a product or you name it isn't just again, that same mess for less or a little bit more efficient, it can be completely rethought of. It can be reimagined. You can decide that you don't even need certain steps anymore. And none of that happens without knowledge and awareness of what tools you have in your toolkit, the vision of what it is that you can actually aspire to create and build and develop, how to involve all of the key players in an organization. So it's not just IT, not just hoping that citizen, whatever they are called, rise to the challenge and do something sort of independently and in a rogue manner, but you work together as an organization. And then I guess the last, but certainly not least, and we cover this too in the book, not a plug, just a reference, is the grander impact and purpose of what we're doing. So it's not just to make onboarding 20%, 50%, 75% faster, but it's really to create a better experience for everybody, employees, customers, citizens, patients, you name it. And then the byproduct of that, which is more efficient use of resources, so we can dedicate those freed up, liberated resources to bigger, better things like global stewardship, education reform, healthcare transformation, and rejuvenation. So that's what I would ask Santa for is knowledge, perspective, and a sense of purpose for how to apply all the tools that make up the intelligent automation space.
I'll forgive the book plug because that was a good list and easy for Santa to carry in his sleigh. Much easier than a software platform.
I'll forgive as well if books are given away for free, I think.
Nice. We could probably make that happen.
Okay.
All right, Mike, we're coming to you. So ready? Get ready.
Give me an easy one.
Question number 3, Kieran.
Oh, because it's you.
Lay it on him.
It has to be a hard question this Christmas, unless you do want to, as I was texting you in the background, offer cash for an easy one. But let's see. Right. This shouldn't be too bad for a gentleman like you who's been in the industry. What are your top 3 intelligent automation predictions for 2022?
Oh, very good. And I've got to introduce myself as well, haven't I?
Please.
So I will do that. So my name's Mike Hobday. I'm Chief Executive of AntWorks, Intelligent Document Processing Company. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm under strict instructions. Actually, background is I'm a change practitioner because I'm an ex-banker, run transformation and insurance companies, been in strategy houses in consulting, and was latterly general manager looking after intelligent automation at IBM, and been with AntWorks for just over 2 years now. So the predictions, well, there are a number of things, I think, which is I suspect that in 12 months we'll be having the same conversations, because it strikes me I've been going to conferences and attending events for the last 3 years, and the conversation is still, how do we scale automation? What is intelligent automation? There would say that the word intelligence only come into it in probably the last 18 months. So there seems to be a continuing dialogue. So I think there's plenty of opportunity for Emma and yourself, Kieran, to carry on the dialogue throughout the next year. But I think actually my predictions would be, and it's kind of interesting because it's like the idea of an integrated automation platform that we were talking about earlier, about platforms, is there's clearly a trend towards consolidation of the sector and the coming together of ecosystems, which rather runs against the idea of kind of the best of breed, which seems to be by and large what customers are actually looking for. And I find that interesting. And I think it's in 2 parts. One is I see consolidation across the RPA providers wanting to extend their services and get a broad range of automation tooling, which, as I say, I think runs against the general instincts of customers and enterprises. But I do see the kind of vertical integration. So the big platforms, the Salesforces, the Workdays, the big ERP platforms, looking to put automation solutions on the front end to drive straight through processing. So I think kind of that would be one prediction. I think something I'm an evangelist for is, as Francis was talking about RPA earlier, and it's not really intelligent automation, it's dumb automation, is the key to automation is a real focus and dedication on data. And my personal evangelism is really about thinking about how data enters your organization, getting that digitized as quickly as possible, and then start to think about how you design your processes behind it. I think we'll see more of that. I was certainly seeing a rise of interest in the data associated services around RPA. And then the other thing, of course, is that you can be dead certain about is that analysts will continue to analyze and come forward with predictions and invent futures for organizations like my own and the RPA vendors, and produce their 4-box models, which they do in copious quantities. And so there's definitely going to be an awful lot more of that.
Oh, I like that. And I'm looking forward to your slides in 2022, Mike, because in honesty, and you know me, I've ran out of what you've given me in the past and don't see originals.
I haven't mentioned dinosaurs or Pharaoh.
No.
You know,
No,
but,
don't. I need those talks when I'm doing it for others, pretending they're mine.
The dinosaur analogy was a fan favorite during your last episode with us. So
You might have to explain it very quickly, just for anybody who's listening who wasn't there before, Mike.
Oh, the kind of idea of dinosaurs was that with things like robotic process automation, as Francis said, what it does is it moves data around more quickly. So it's a good tactical solution before transformation by and large. And therefore, what you tend to be doing when you're implementing some of these automation solutions is making large organizations move more quickly rather than transforming them. So rather fits with the idea of taking a brontosaurus and creating a velociraptor, but it's still a dinosaur. And when it gets when it gets colder, it's still going to die out. That was the analogy, I think.
the other side of this that I want to point out before we take you guys off the stream and bring OG on is when Ian and I did a interview a couple of months back, he wowed me with his dinosaur, like legit dinosaur knowledge from the show Dinosaur Train. So if you're looking for some dinosaur experience, take a look at that interview or ask Ian some questions about his favorite dinosaurs from the past.
This is a plug for a children's animated TV series. But it's a good one, Dinosaur Train.
That's what happens when you've got little kids at home. Your brain goes immediately to the nonsense that's on the TV.
And just in case anybody's not seen it, my jumper is in Florida. It's Star Wars.
Which is outstanding. That is very cool.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take you off and we're going to bring OG on to have his turn at the wheel here as well.
Happy holidays.
Yep.
Cheers.
Bye.
And OG brings something special as well with him today, Emma. I think it's called merch. You once got this, I haven't got this, but there is a promise that if I do mention the merch, I may get one of them. How's that for an OG?
Ooh, fancy coffee cups.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? If you want one of this, you have to deserve it, right? So it's not easy to get. You have to
legit be approved.
Exactly. You have to be totally approved, right? So
yep. Well, I'm working on that.
Exactly. You know, you almost there.
Even if we do a year's worth of shows, we haven't made it over the line. That's the bar that this is set at.
All right, you ready for your spin?
I'm totally ready.
Okay. Let's see here then. We've got number 11, which we have not had yet. So your question after your introduction will be, how should we be measuring the success of intelligent automation initiatives in 2022?
Okay, pretty good question. I like this one. So let me introduce myself. My name is Olivier. People call me OG. My focus in that industry, I'm doing that for many years, is really to look at it from the angle of our clients and really focus on outcome and value, really focus on, you know, what that brings to the business, how that impacts the P&L of our client, right? So
my key focus is typically to try to have a technology agnostic view to everything here that we are talking about and to focus on ROI. So to answer your question, how do we want to measure automation initiative in 2022? So let me start by saying how we don't want to measure, automation initiative, right? So the back to my point, the thing that we don't want to do is to have a technology centric view to this, right? So we have a tendency still today to jump to conclusion, to talk about tools, to talk about feature, to talk about platform, to talk about integration, to jump to a POC, a proof of concept, or a POV, a proof of value, right? I think all of that is a mistake, right? If all you are looking at when you are driving an automation initiative is how many tools you are throwing at the problem, then you get it wrong. Tom, who started this, this webinar, is spot on, right? It's all about measuring the outcome, measuring the impact to the business. That's really, really important. In order to do that, it is really important to understand the expected, let's say, addressable space in your business. So what I mean by that is once you understand how you want automation to impact your business, then you can measure effectively the impact of automation, whatever the tool is, to your business itself, whether it's the P&L or whether it's the customer experience or whether it's the employee experience, right? So for me, that's how you want to measure. You want to measure by looking at the end, the outcome, and understanding what it means. The other aspect that is extremely important is also to measure the cultural change that you have in your company, right? Because again, automation is very, very often, for a lot of people, a combination of something that is intangible. It's very difficult to understand those digital skills. And it's also a combination of fear. It's potentially going to be bad news. So measuring the impact on your culture, understanding the acceptance, understanding how people are evolving away from I'm afraid to I am adopting, I'm afraid of that robots, to I have now a new friend that will help me do my job better is really important. So to close here, forget about the technology, forget about the tools, focus on the outcome, focus on the business impact, and keep an eye on the cultural change, how this is impacting, the DNA of your company. And if you are able to keep that as a focus, you will do well, no matter what technology you choose.
I think off the back of that, OG, we'd award you a mug. You can have one of your own mugs.
You're allowed to keep drinking out of it.
That's it. Happy Christmas from myself and Emma. And it does go back to that bit you're mentioning a moment ago. And I'm going to do a surprise here because I'm going to ask you a question just because you asked everybody else one. Okay. It is about changing hearts and minds and winning them over. It's not just about the technology as well. And unless you actually win hearts and minds, it doesn't matter what tool you roll out or what you're trying to do inside of an organization. It just darn well won't work. Emma, you mentioned this throughout the year. Change is really, really difficult. Small amounts, big amounts in an enterprise. What do we need to do to get organizations' minds, as Olivier was mentioning there, to move to this new way of thinking and enabling and empowering and using tools at every single level to get them to turn away from what Mike was calling dinosaur organizations that embam existing processes into something a lot more dynamic, future thinking, and something that involves all of their staff in this wonderful and amazing journey in industry?
So thank you for the question. I'm always excited to talk about change management. And I also love that I get to do it in this Christmas sweater. So I won't be angry at you for that. From the standpoint of change management, I talk a lot about this. When OG and Ian joined us a couple of months ago and we had a people-centric episode, I talked a ton about kind of the three basic areas of change management that I think every organization, regardless of budget or anything else, you can do to help make your transition and change smooth. And that's starting with making sure that everybody in the organization understands the why. behind the moves that you're making. And going back to what you said, you can't win minds unless people understand why. And I think the reason that this is so critical to me is just the way that I see the world and the way that I work. You can ask my boss, Mark, I'll tag him in the comments and he can corroborate. I will not do something unless I understand the logic and the why behind it, because I don't want to just put effort out into the world for no reason or do something that doesn't feel right to me, and understanding the basis of the driver behind a decision. And the same thing is true for a transformation. And if you're not doing a good enough job explaining that why behind the change, people are going to be fearful of what's happening. They're not going to understand that you're trying to make their lives better and improve the way that they do their jobs, and hopefully free up time for them to do work that they enjoy. They're going to have a sense of fear that you're trying to replace them or automate their job. And so that why, and helping them eventually bridge that gap to what's in it for me and why are we doing this and how is it going to benefit me as an individual, you're not going to get anywhere with that change. Then the next step is constant communication through an implementation, training, and then post communication as well to celebrate the win. And so that's kind of that third stage. So you need to help people understand why. You need to over communicate throughout the entire journey of your implementation and go live. And then you need to celebrate your successes. And when you do a really great job of celebrating those successes and sharing the value that you've gotten out of an intelligent automation program, or, you know, multiple implementations, that idea and excitement behind the why is going to start to build. And that's when you're going to get momentum behind your program. You're going to get new ideas, you're going to have fresh perspectives, and you're going to encourage more and more people to become a part of your innovation strategy moving forward. So I've talked a lot about that in the past, but I think there's a couple of other things I actually just did. And so it's fresh in my mind. Just did an article for the AI Journal about some other things that organizations should keep in mind if they really want to take this idea of successful change management and turn it into a competitive advantage for their organization. And some of those things are understanding that change management itself is a discipline. And there has to be a mindset shift within your organization to look at change management as a discipline. It can't be an afterthought. It can't be something that tags along behind the technology, just as OG was saying. You can't just focus on the technology. The people are the driving force behind everything that you do. And you have to recognize that and build programs that support that idea as well. You also have to make sure that you're doing the right upskilling and reskilling of your team to make sure that they're able to feel comfortable with these changes. Now, going back to our citizen developer conversation before, does everybody in your organization need to be a developer? No. Does everybody in your organization need to understand what you mean when you say AI or when you say machine learning and how that's impacting their job? Yes. You have to educate them, reskill them, and help them understand what's happening around them, or they're not going to support it. So making sure that you have some sort of program put in place where, again, whether that's basic communication and having some lunch and learns to help everybody get comfortable with that idea, or more structured programs like PwC has a citizen innovation program that you can send your teams through, or every software vendor available has countless training options that are, scaled to specific roles from end user to developer. So take advantage of those tools and make sure that you're doing what you can to support the transition to the new way of working for your team. And then the last piece that I think is also really critical, and it goes along with this idea of, I think communication to a certain extent, but it's communication through your actions as a leader. And you have to lead change by example. So you can't ask your team to change the way that they're working or learn new skills and learn about technology without doing that yourself as well. And so making sure that you are adopting your tools, making sure that you are taking the time to learn the language of, or kind of that digital literacy is one of the things that Vandana, who I included in the article, mentioned, helping make sure that your senior leadership is, for lack of a better term, eating their own dog food too. Because if they're not adopting it and they're not supporting it, why would somebody who's an end user working day in and day out feel the need to do that? And so I think, beyond those kind of simple 3 steps of what's in it for me, communication, celebrating your wins, you need to recognize that this is a discipline and you need to do some other things to change your approach to change within your organization. And if you can do that, it's going to give you a competitive advantage to continue to build on this innovation and really take advantage of this wave of digital transformation in a different way than other folks might be able to.
Yeah, I think that's the bit. If we take it away from today, and OG, I'll say publicly that Emma deserve a mug for that. We'll not embarrass her in the slightest. But
I think you're right, Emma. You'll get a mug. You'll get a mug.
I think the key bit is here that from everybody today, you've heard, lots of industry experts in this. We've talked about tech, and we've talked about people, talked about leadership. It's all of those components together. It's everybody. Maybe not everyone can become a citizen developer or wants to become a citizen developer, but everyone can contribute and everyone has to contribute. Otherwise, it isn't a digital future. It's just part of something. And this is an all or nothing game, the move to digital. Emma, but before we go, and OG, thank you very much, sir. That was excellent.
Thank you, OG. We're going to kick you off. Kieran and I are going to take a moment to reflect on the last year before we wrap for the day.
Notice I didn't kick you off, so I deserve a mug. Emma, take that one back. Let's do it and just say, Emma, thank you so much for all of our guests throughout the year. And thank you so much for all of our guests who've listened live, commented live, listened on the follow-up, got engaged, got involved, and whatever else. We absolutely adore and appreciate every single one of you and look forward to another year of Third Thursday.
And I want to echo your thank you, but then I also want to say, I think there's just something so cool about what we've been able to build over the last year. And it's not just Kieran and I, it's every single person that's joined us on one of these live streams, every single person that shared a post for us, liked the Third Thursday, commented, liked a post. When I'm looking at collectively how many folks we have engaging in this conversation live on the LinkedIn stream right now, we have over 300 followers on the Third Thursday page, which might not seem like a lot to folks, but like Kieran and I have let this happen organically because we wanted this to be a really cool, organic community that's built over time of other people that are just as nerdy and excited about the world of digital transformation as we are. And so the fact that we also get to celebrate with like all of these really great minds who took the time to be goofy and celebrate our birthday with us and dress in funny outfits, or, even things like, I know it's a sore subject for you, but Josh Noble making me a Third Thursday sign that I get to have in the back of my home office all the time. We have built something that's so cool together as a community over the last year. And I'm just so excited to see what happens as we head into 2022. We've got one last send-off message for everybody from the whole crew that joined us today. But before we do that, I do want to make one point, and that's that we will be back next month, as we said, heading into 2022. And while we had a male-heavy lineup today, next month we'll be joined by Corinne, who's in the comments today, as well as Kristen, and we're going to be talking about the creator economy. And then as we head into February, we've got another 2 women who are leading the way in blockchain and cryptocurrency that will be joining us for February. So we're going to start switching the tables and bringing in some other voices as well.
And the metaverse, which Ian will be delighted about.
Yes. So with that, before we start our video for our send-off with everybody, thank you again for joining us for this episode or any other Third Thursdays that you've joined us for, being a part of this community, and happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Hello, guys. Hello, Emma.
Best wishes and happy holidays to everyone. May this holiday season be happy, healthy, and safe.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Wishing you a very happy holiday season and a peaceful and prosperous new year. All the best.
Happy holidays, everyone. Sorry.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Let's hope that the accuracy of the predictive engine used by Santa Claus to send presents thinks about us. Cheers.
I'm sure, just like me, here in London on a cold evening in early December, you're looking forward to a Third Thursday because all you're looking forward to this Christmas is smart, intelligent automation. And the only place to find out what should be in your Christmas cracker is the Third Thursday with Kieran, Emma and the team.
Look forward to seeing you there.
Hey, Third Thursday crew. Happy birthday. Happy holidays to everybody. Looking forward to celebrating with all these intelligent automation minds.
Hello, everyone. This is OG. I absolutely wish you great time off, great holidays, and a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.